Hey y'all, I'm your host, Aaron Smith of the Offshore Marine Service Association. Each Friday, I'll bring you the Offshore Briefing, a quick rundown of the week's notable developments, updates, and news you need to know in the offshore space. Whether you're on deck or at your desk, we're glad you're here. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Maritime in America, the Offshore Briefing. It is great to be coming to you again on this kind of fall-ish Friday. Kind of the first times here in Louisiana it's
sunny.
Yeah, it's gotten below 80. It's not 87% humidity.
Yeah, it's 50 degrees in this office.
That it is. So, was looking around on what we're going to talk about.
Wait. It's Angel Johnson and Ashley Smith, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
We're so comfortable now speaking to everyone that we just kind of glaze over.
It is, yes, but I should introduce my co-host. I don't even think I introduced myself. I'm Aaron.
Yeah. Aaron Smith.
Yes. or Uncle Jerry to
Or
some.
Uncle Jerry, yes. Or AA Ron.
AA Ron.
Aaron Smith the boy.
Aaron Smith the boy,
Yeah.
yes. So, one of the things that I want to talk about is in July, the Coast Guard finalized cybersecurity regulations for U.S. flagged vessels, and U.S. is doing a lot of work in that sentence there. And you can debate if foreign vessels should be subject to the same requirements as U.S. vessels. They should. But we have been heavily studying the regulations since they came down and looking at some of the deadlines that are coming up, the regulatory deadlines that are coming up. And AMSA members should have seen this in the AMSA member release that we sent out, release 67.25 on October 7th, or you can go to the website under the Master Regulatory News and look it up there. We put in there a checklist for how operators comply with the first series of deadlines. And so, Ashley, do you want to talk about the checklist some?
Yeah, of course. So I like to make fun of Angel and Aaron for nerding out over DP. It's one of my favorite topics, if you listen to this.
That it is.
However, I totally nerded out on this cybersecurity ruling. I spent like a week just kind of reading it, understanding it. And I think I love it so much because it is so vague that as long as you have things documented, that's really all that you need to do. But I also recognize that Coast Guard tends to interpret things how they want, so we need to be prepared for that. So what I did was I took what we know now, put it into a checklist to keep everyone up to date, because the biggest deadline is January 12th, 2026 to have your training done. And that's the training for personnel deemed responsible for your IT on your vessel, or OT. So IT, OT, as well as the key personnel. And again, we also provide examples of what would a key personnel be? Who would just a regular personnel be? I created lots of tabs within the Excel spreadsheet of the checklist to kind of give further information and clarity on what is needed. One thing that is coming out is this training. I apologize. The training that we're discussing, it's pretty vague. I have been in contact with my counterpart from U.S. Coast Guard who is working specifically in this sector, and he assured me that FAQs should be coming out within the next few days to give more clarity on what type of training needs to be done.
And again, what's the deadline for the training?
January 12th, 2026.
And then after that, how about that?
And after that, it's every year, or it's a few different, and again, in the Excel spreadsheet, I have it broken down of whether it's a new system or if you're a new hire, and then you have to do annual refreshers, if you will, after your initial, what's it called? Initial training.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And so where do you think people can go to get the training?
They can come to AMSA. We are working with some vendors on providing I don't want to say like a ground zero or like a very generic training, but we want it to be, we understand that AMSA members range from one vessel and, 6 employees to 800 vessels and 3,000 employees. I'm over exaggerating,
Not quite
which
that many number
I
of
love to
vessels
do, which I love to do.
and too few employees.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's very vast. And so we can't have, it's not fair for one to take and actually I think the Coast Guard's going to realize this is how the maritime industry is, that they're
Yep.
trying to regulate for this specific issue. Anywho, we are going to have we're working on having a training program, a simple one for people to take. And if you require more or additional training, that will be an add-on that you can do. So it'll be able to service everyone. And that is something we're working on. I hope to have it turned around quite shortly. We're taking input, we're taking RFPs. So if you have any input or want to be involved, I've had a few people reach out to me. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm excited about this too. I think this will really provide a benefit to the members to provide like you said, a very, and I don't want to say simple because I don't think it will be
Correct.
simple, but it will be
Easier.
Yes,
Yeah.
it will be a system that will be able to, so you can meet the requirements in a very streamlined fashion and not outside of any of the other tools you're already using as an
Right.
AMSA member. And it will
Correct.
only be available to AMSA members, but it will be another benefit to AMSA membership. And I
Right.
think it'll,
And
I think it'll be a big benefit.
Agreed. And you'll have our support and our help. And something that's everyone's really worried about, and I'm not as worried about because they really haven't given us any definition or clarity on what they're looking for, is for the actual cybersecurity plan itself. I've done a deep dive. I've also created a checklist for that. However, we're still waiting on guidance on what they actually are going to require and need from individuals. And AMSA operates its own security plan, and I'm working on trying to have a cybersecurity plan within our plan to help our members. So it's a one-stop thing. You don't have to have a vessel security plan and a cybersecurity plan. You will just have a plan.
Yeah. And there are 9 points that your cyber plan has to cover: account security measures, training, drills and exercise, incident response, reporting, recovery, device security, data security, risk assessment, supply chain and externals, physical security, and audit and review. Those are a lot of different components, but you do a gap between those and the ASP that we already have. There's a lot of crossover there. So something that we should be able to, and the rulemaking process did acknowledge that at the last second. And after they got way too far down before realizing, hey, wait, we have alternative security programs. Why don't we utilize those?
Correct.
I think they really
and they also realized that alternative security programs like ours, you have to be, just anyone off the street can't have an ASP. You have to be part of this group because we work together to create acceptable standards.
Well,
again,
also,
that's another.
It benefits the Coast Guard too, because then they have to approve one
Correct.
program, not every single one.
Right. And you're right in a certain instance that it's one program for AMSA, but all the other individuals sitting on this panel, or working group with me, have their own plans as well. The other individual company or associations or like-minded companies like ours.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. So anyway, I'm nerding out. I'm excited about it.
Come ask me. Very much nerding out.
Right?
And tell us when that training has to be done again.
January 12th, 2026.
Okay, and I will say that's about 94 days from when this episode was released.
About 94?
Oy vey.
Exactly 94.
Okay. Well, the good news is this initial training is not, and everyone is freaking out about it, but I promise you, you do not need to be.
When you read the regs,
you really read the regs,
there are not that many components to it. You just have to have a way to get it done.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
And like we keep talking about, a way to document it in a common fashion.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm really looking at, because it is anyone that touches an IT system or an OT system in your company, That oftentimes means vendors or
Well, there's a
contractors.
whole section on my checklist on vendors and contractors
And which
as
ones
well,
need to be
and
covered.
which one needs to be covered. And again, there, as long as our members or whoever is documenting how they handle and approach these situations, they will be okay.
Yes.
And in my checklist, um, one of the Excel spreadsheet pages does have a template to keep track of everyone's training schedules and how to keep track of it and what data you should keep in track of.
Yep.
Just to, yeah.
Well, and I was bringing up the point about contractors and how they will need it because I think one of the benefits of having a AMSA training is that the vendors that work for multiple different AMSA members can take one training and will have one certificate
Correct.
that's common across all of
Absolutely. And that
their
shows
customers.
that shows a lot more to the Coast Guard because it's saying that we understand the needs and they can get it done. And
Yeah.
so it's a little more legitimized.
Not a word.
Legitimate.
Not a word.
Legit? I also said coming down the pipe.
It's coming down the pike, yes, but that's a common misused
It's
idiom.
my favorite thing to do is to not say sayings correct.
Yes. Jill did say the other day that I use more sayings than anyone else.
She does, hence why he does, hence why I like to mess them up, because for every one that I mess up, he says 25 right.
Yeah.
They're very confusing.
Very confusing and make no sense.
They're all common.
Welcome to my
Y'all-
world.
Y'all need to read more. Y'all need to read. But one thing that is completely outside of reading, the complete opposite of that is if you've noticed, our Offshore America Instagram is getting dangerously close to 10,000 followers. I am really excited about this. I can't believe that this little thing that we started
I know.
a year and a half ago
Yeah.
is now 10,000 followers. And I want to say, one of the things that we were working on to promote the account was we did recognizing, and so many of the people who've appeared on this podcast talk about this, that so many people in our industry have such pride in their vessels and where they work and just what a great condition they keep them in, that we did a contest for the best picture of a clean engine room. And we haven't announced a winner yet, but there's a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
Have you Jill seen
I
it?
have not.
All right.
Show
Well,
me after.
it is the MV Hayden from Offshore Oil Service. They have their engineers eating their lunch on the engine room floor and showing that it is clean enough to eat off of. So I don't think I'm allowed to pick the winner or supposed to be picking the winner, but they're the winner.
That's pretty cool.
That's the winner. So great job, guys. Great job. Stacy, who we had on, just, she talked about how much her people mean to her in that episode. And so I thought they did a great job of showing how much the company means to them as well. So I thought that was good. So that was something else I saw this week. So, well, that was everything I saw.
Wait. Sorry. So I did have something that I found. I'm not going to discuss it today. However, I did mention that it was spooky season last episode, and I know that we all in this office like true crime. So this will be a true crime story.
7% of the office, yes.
I'll count as double. That's how much I love true crime.
This will be a true crime story. It won't be too gory, but MTS has been my priority, so that's why I haven't fully developed the story yet. However, by this time next week, MTS DP conference would have been completed and my presentation would have been completed.
And
So,
amazing, and you'll get a standing ovation.
yes.
Not the
I
right
can't.
word again. As I said it, I'm tired.
We're just gonna start.
Ovation is what you meant. I
Ovation.
think everyone understood. But yes, so just be on the lookout for that.
All right. Well, yes, can't wait. And gotta say, I've been reading lots of different versions of your paper and your presentation, and it is awesome. And some great results, some great findings in the paper, and not only findings, but what we can extrapolate and what you have extrapolated from that. Some really good guidance for the rest of the industry, not just and kind of Chuck said this when he was on, not just for the DP industry, but for everyone. It kind of some interesting stuff that you don't think about that can fall through the cracks, but can cause big incidents. And so I'm really impressed, and you've done a good job, and I can't wait to see you present your paper next week. It's going to be
Awesome.
fun.
Thank you. And you said you weren't coming, so now I'm a little bit more nervous now that you are.
He's
Oh.
coming. I'm coming too. And I'm bringing balloons. And I'm gonna have a fat head of you, and I'm gonna go, Michelle, go.
Like embarrassing parents.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Well done. Well, all right. Well, good. Again, OMSA members, look for the cybersecurity alert, look for the checklist, and
keep
let
an eye
us
out for
know.
additional.
And yeah, as the Coast Guard provides more guidance and as we're able to further refine, we will be putting out newer versions of this and updated versions of this. If you see portions of it that you want added, let us know. If you're finding something, I'm betting other people are finding the same thing. So, that's what a trade association is here for, is to help handle those common issues and common problems so we can move forward together. So great work to both of you on these projects. And I'm just going to sit here.
Nerding out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit
Nerd
here and
alert.
take the credit. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you all.
Well, sorry, one more thing.
Yes.
Good job to you as well, because you have helped, I believe, both of us out.
Not
and-
me.
Sorry.
No.
Well, you've helped me out a lot. So good work to you as well.
Hey, another saying I like to use, another one is credit goes down, blame goes up.
And he does
So-
this to our children too. And they always stare at him like, Dad, I have no. They sometimes use explicits. What you're saying, and I'm like, just nod. It's what I do. Even yeah.
It's a great saying. All right, I'm going to go find people that understand me here.
Happy Friday.
Have a good weekend.
Happy Friday.
That wraps up another episode of Maritime in America. We're proud to highlight the voices and stories that keep the American offshore industry strong. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and remember, the course ahead is shaped by those who step up and steer it. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Tune in every Friday for your offshore briefing, and don't miss our next full episode, dropping soon with a very special guest, Mariner's Perspective. Catch you next time.